Hello and welcome to this special space of calm, kindness and self-discovery. I'm so glad you're here with me today. If this is your first time joining us at the Mindful Zone, or if you've been part of our community for a while, thank you for being here. This is a place where we come together to explore ways to nurture our minds, hearts and souls. Today we're going to embark on a journey toward loving yourself as you are. In our modern world, it's easy to get caught up in the noise. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us we need to be better, do more, look different, or achieve some elusive standard of perfection. Social media, advertising, even our own inner voices can make us feel like we're never quite enough. But what if I told you that you already are enough? That simply existing, breathing, and being alive makes you inherently worthy of love and compassion. That's what we'll explore today. How to cultivate self-compassion, embrace who you are, and find peace within yourself. Drawing from the wisdom of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness practices, we'll uncover tools and techniques to help you reduce stress, improve your well-being, and live a more fulfilling life. Self-compassion isn't about ignoring your flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It's about seeing yourself clearly, with all your strengths and weaknesses, and choosing to treat yourself with kindness instead of criticism. It's about recognizing that suffering is part of the human experience, and you're not alone in your struggles. When we approach ourselves with gentleness and understanding, we open the door to healing and transformation. This video is designed for everyone, whether you're new to meditation and mindfulness or you've been practicing for years. If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or disconnected from yourself, this session is here to guide you back to a place of balance and peace. If you're someone who wants to deepen your relationship with yourself and others, these teachings will offer insight and inspiration. As we move forward, I invite you to let go of any expectations. There's no right or wrong way to engage with this content. Simply show up as you are, exactly where you are. Find a comfortable seat, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to settle into this moment. Let the weight of the day fall away, even if just for a little while. Throughout this journey, we'll explore 10 chapters, each one building on the last. We'll start by defining self-compassion and laying the groundwork for mindfulness. Then we'll dive into practical exercises like loving-kindness meditation, gratitude practices, and techniques to release self-criticism. Along the way, we'll reflect on Buddhist teachings about impermanence, interconnectedness, and the power of presence. These lessons aren't just theoretical, they're meant to weave into your daily life, helping you navigate challenges with greater ease and joy. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this is your time, your space. So if something resonates deeply, pause and sit with it. If you need to rewind or revisit certain sections later, please do. This isn't a race, it's an exploration. Now take a moment to check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now? What brought you here today? Maybe you're seeking relief from stress, clarity and confusion, or simply a reminder that you're not alone. Whatever your reason, honor it. You're taking an important step toward nurturing your mind and heart. So let's take one more deep breath together. Inhale slowly and exhale fully. Feel your body relax, your mind soften, and your heart open. Are you ready? Let's begin this beautiful journey towards self-compassion. One breath, one thought, one moment at a time. Chapter 1. What is self-compassion? Welcome to Chapter 1 of our journey together. What is self-compassion? This is where we lay the foundation for everything else we'll explore today. Because before we can truly love ourselves as we are, we need to understand what self-compassion is, and perhaps more importantly, what it isn't. Self-compassion might sound like a simple concept on the surface, but its depth and power often go unnoticed. It's not just about being nice to yourself or giving yourself a pat on the back when you achieve something. It's much deeper than that. Self-compassion is about meeting yourself with kindness, especially during moments of difficulty or pain. It's about recognizing your humanity and embracing all parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, with unconditional acceptance. Let's start by breaking this down further. Imagine someone close to you, a dear friend, a sibling or a partner, is going through a tough time. They've made a mistake at work, or they're feeling overwhelmed by life's demands. How would you respond? Chances are you'd offer them words of comfort. It's okay, you're doing your best. Or maybe you'd remind them that everyone makes mistakes and that failure doesn't define their worth. Now, here's the question. Do you speak to yourself with the same level of kindness and understanding when you're struggling? For many of us, the answer is no. We tend to be far harsher with ourselves than we would ever dream of being with someone else. That critical inner voice, the one that says, "You should have known better," or "Why can't you get it right?" is often relentless. It pushes us to strive harder, do more, and never settle for anything less than perfection. And while striving for growth and improvement isn't inherently bad, the way we treat ourselves along the way matters immensely. This is where self-compassion comes in. It's about silencing, or at least softening, that harsh inner critic and replacing it with a voice of warmth and encouragement. It's about reminding yourself that imperfection is part of being human. No one gets it right all the time. Mistakes don't diminish your value, they simply show that you're learning, growing, and evolving. To really grasp what self-compassion means, let's turn to some wisdom from Buddhism. One of the core teachings in Buddhism is the idea of karuna, which translates to compassion. Compassion is seen as a profound force, a way of connecting with others and ourselves through empathy and care. In Buddhist philosophy, cultivating compassion begins within. Before we can extend kindness outward, we must first learn to direct it inward. Think about it this way. If you were a gardener tending to plants, you wouldn't expect flowers to bloom without watering their roots first, would you? Similarly, if we want to nurture healthy relationships with others, we need to start by nurturing our relationship with ourselves. Self-compassion is like nourishing the soil of your heart so that love, joy, and resilience can flourish. Now let's take a closer look at the three key components of self-compassion, as outlined by Dr. Kristin Neff, a leading researcher in this field. These components provide a framework for understanding how self-compassion works in practice. The first component is self-kindness versus self-judgment. When we practice self-kindness, we treat ourselves with warmth and understanding rather than criticism. Instead of berating ourselves for falling short, we acknowledge our struggles and offer ourselves comfort. For example, if you didn't perform as well as you hoped on a project, instead of saying, "I'm such a failure," you might say, "I did my best under the circumstances and I'll learn from this experience." The second component is common humanity versus isolation. Suffering and imperfection are universal experiences, yet when we're caught up in our own pain, it's easy to feel like we're the only ones struggling. Practicing self-compassion reminds us that we're not alone. Everyone faces challenges, makes mistakes, and feels inadequate at times. Recognizing this shared humanity helps us feel connected rather than isolated. The third component is mindfulness versus over-identification. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting lost in them. When we over-identify with our suffering, we may become consumed by it, believing that our pain defines us entirely. On the other hand, mindfulness invites us to hold our difficulties gently, acknowledging them without exaggeration or denial. This balanced perspective creates space for healing. So, how does this apply to your life? Let's consider a practical example, and imagine you had a disagreement with a loved one earlier today. Maybe things got heated and now you're replaying the conversation in your mind, criticizing yourself for what you said or didn't say. Without self-compassion, this situation could spiral into shame or regret. But with self-compassion, you might pause and ask yourself, am I treating myself kindly right now, or am I piling on judgment? Is this struggle unique to me, or do others also face conflicts in their relationships? Can I step back and observe my emotions without letting them overwhelm me? By asking these questions, you shift from a place of self-criticism to one of self-understanding. You begin to see the situation and yourself more clearly. One common misconception about self-compassion is that it's selfish or indulgent. Some people worry that being kind to themselves will lead to laziness or complacency, but research shows the opposite is true. When we practice self-compassion, we actually become more motivated to grow and improve, not because we're afraid of failure, but because we genuinely care about our well-being. Another concern people sometimes have is that self-compassion might make them weak or overly emotional. Again, the truth is quite different. Studies suggest that self-compassionate individuals are better equipped to handle stress, adversity, and setbacks. They bounce back faster from challenges because they don't tie their self-worth to external outcomes. Let's take a moment now to reflect on your own relationship with self-compassion. Think about a recent situation where you felt frustrated, disappointed, or overwhelmed. How did you respond to yourself? Did you lean into self-kindness, or did you fall into self-criticism? There's no judgment here. This is simply an opportunity to notice patterns and gain insight. If you're like most people, you probably discovered areas where there's room to grow. That's okay. Self-compassion is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Over the next few chapters, we'll explore specific techniques and exercises to help you strengthen this muscle. But for now, let's focus on planting the seed. Here's a simple exercise to try. Throughout the day, whenever you catch yourself thinking negatively about yourself, pause, take a deep breath, and then reframe those thoughts using kinder language. For instance, if you find yourself thinking, "I messed up again," try saying, "It's okay, I'm human, and I'm learning." At first, this might feel awkward or forced, but over time, it will start to feel natural. Remember, self-compassion isn't about ignoring your flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It's about holding yourself with gentleness and grace, even when things aren't going according to plan. It's about seeing your imperfections not as failures, but as opportunities for growth. As we continue this journey together, I encourage you to approach yourself with curiosity and openness. Treat this exploration as an act of love, a gift you're giving to your future self. Every step you take towards self-compassion brings you closer to a life filled with peace, joy, and authenticity. Before we move on to the next chapter, take a moment to sit quietly. Close your eyes if you'd like and bring to mind a quality you admire about yourself. It could be something small, like your ability to listen deeply, or something bigger, like your capacity for resilience. Allow yourself to feel proud of who you are, exactly as you are. Thank you for taking this important step toward loving yourself. You're already on the path, and I'm honored to walk alongside you. Chapter 2, The Foundations of Mindfulness. Welcome to Chapter 2 of our journey together, the Foundations of Mindfulness. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most powerful tools for cultivating self-compassion, mindfulness. Mindfulness is often described as the practice of being present, but its benefits go far beyond simply paying attention. It's a way of relating to yourself and the world with greater awareness, clarity, and kindness. And it's an essential foundation for building self-compassion. Let's begin by defining what mindfulness truly means. At its core, mindfulness is about bringing your full attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing what's happening right now, both inside you and around you, with curiosity and openness. This might sound simple, but in practice it can be surprisingly challenging. Our minds are constantly wandering, pulled in different directions by thoughts, emotions, and distractions. Mindfulness invites us to anchor ourselves in the here and now, creating a sense of stability amidst the chaos. Why is mindfulness so important for self-compassion? Because when we're mindful, we become more aware of how we treat ourselves. We start to notice the subtle ways in which we criticize or neglect our own needs. We also become more attuned to moments of suffering, both big and small, and learn to respond to them with care rather than avoidance. Mindfulness allows us to step back from automatic reactions and choose how we want to relate to ourselves. To understand the roots of mindfulness, we can turn to Buddhism once again. Mindfulness has been a cornerstone of Buddhist teachings for thousands of years, particularly within the practice of meditation. One of the Buddha's key insights was that much of human suffering arises not from external circumstances, but from the way we relate to those circumstances. When we cling to pleasure, resist pain, or get lost in endless mental chatter, we create unnecessary struggle. Mindfulness helps us break free from these patterns by grounding us in the reality of the present moment. Now let's dive deeper into the practical aspects of mindfulness. How do we actually cultivate this skill in our daily lives? The good news is that mindfulness doesn't require any special equipment or expertise. It's something anyone can practice, regardless of their background or experience level. All it takes is a willingness to show up and pay attention. One of the simplest ways to begin practicing mindfulness is through focused attention on the breath. Your breath is always with you, making it an ideal anchor for your awareness. To try this exercise, find a comfortable position, whether sitting, lying down, or even standing, and close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a few deep breaths, inhaling slowly through your nose and exhaling gently through your mouth. Then, let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. As you focus on your breath, notice the sensations that arise. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils and the warmth of the air leaving. Notice the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. If your mind starts to wander, and it almost certainly will, that's perfectly okay. Gently guide your attention back to your breath without judging yourself for getting distracted. Each time you return to the present moment, you're strengthening your ability to stay grounded. This practice may seem deceptively simple, but its effects can be profound. By repeatedly bringing your attention back to your breath, you train your mind to become more stable and focused. Over time, this increased stability spills over into other areas of your life. You might find it easier to concentrate at work, communicate more effectively with others, or navigate stressful situations with greater calm. But mindfulness isn't limited to formal meditation practices like focusing on the breath. It's also about bringing mindful awareness to everyday activities. For example, the next time you eat a meal, try doing so mindfully. Instead of rushing through your food while scrolling on your phone, slow down and savor each bite. Notice the colors, textures, and flavors of your food. Pay attention to how your body feels as you eat. Are you hungry, full, satisfied? This simple shift in perspective can transform a mundane activity into a moment of connection and gratitude. Another way to incorporate mindfulness into your day is through mindful movement. Activities like yoga, tai chi, or even walking can be done mindfully if you bring your full attention to them. As you move, notice the sensations in your body, the stretch of your muscles, the rhythm of your steps, the way your feet connect with the ground. These moments of embodied awareness help you stay rooted in the present and deepen your relationship with your physical self. Mindfulness also extends to how we interact with others. When we're fully present during conversations, we listen more deeply and respond more thoughtfully. We notice subtle cues in someone's tone of voice or facial expression that we might otherwise miss. This kind of mindful communication fosters stronger connections and reduces misunderstandings. Of course, practicing mindfulness isn't always easy. There will be days when your mind feels restless, your emotions overwhelming, or your surroundings too chaotic to focus. On those days, remember that mindfulness isn't about achieving a perfect state of calm or concentration. It's about showing up even imperfectly and meeting whatever arises with compassion. One common misconception about mindfulness is that it's about clearing your mind of all thoughts. In reality, mindfulness isn't about stopping your thoughts. It's about observing them without attachment. Imagine your thoughts as clouds drifting across the sky. Sometimes they're light and fluffy. Other times they're dark and stormy. Either way, they come and go. By watching them pass without getting caught up in them, you create space between yourself and your mental activity. This spaciousness gives you the freedom to choose how you respond, rather than reacting impulsively. Another misconception is that mindfulness requires hours of meditation each day. While longer sessions can be beneficial, even a few minutes of mindful awareness can make a difference. Research shows that short, consistent practices like taking 3 mindful breaths before starting a task or pausing to check in with yourself throughout the day can significantly reduce stress and improve well-being. The key is consistency. Just like watering a plant regularly helps it grow, small doses of mindfulness practiced consistently yield lasting results. Now, let's talk about why mindfulness is especially relevant for cultivating self-compassion. When we're mindful, we develop a clearer understanding of our inner landscape. We notice when we're feeling anxious, sad, or frustrated, and instead of pushing those feelings away, we acknowledge them with kindness. We remind ourselves that it's okay to feel what we're feeling, that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. Mindfulness also helps us recognize unhelpful thought patterns such as self-criticism or negative self-talk. Once we become aware of these patterns, we can challenge them and replace them with more compassionate alternatives. For instance, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm such a failure," you might pause and ask, "Is that really true? Or am I holding myself to unrealistic standards?" This moment of reflection creates an opportunity to reframe your thoughts in a way that supports your well-being. Let's try another exercise together to deepen your understanding of mindfulness. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and sit comfortably. Close your eyes if you'd like, or soften your gaze. Take a few deep breaths to settle into the moment. Now bring your attention to your body. Starting at the top of your head, scan downward, noticing any areas of tension or relaxation. Move slowly through your forehead, jaw, neck, shoulders, arms, torso, legs, and feet. Don't try to change anything, just observe what's there. As you continue scanning, you might notice sensations like tightness, warmth, tingling, or heaviness. Whatever you feel is valid. Simply acknowledge it without judgment. If your mind wanders, gently guide it back to your body. This practice, known as a body scan, is a form of mindfulness that helps you reconnect with your physical self and release stored tension. After completing the body scan, take a moment to reflect. How does your body feel now compared to when you started? Did you discover any areas of discomfort or ease that you hadn't noticed before? This heightened awareness can inform how you care for yourself moving forward. Perhaps you realize you need to stretch, rest, or hydrate. Listening to your body in this way is an act of self-compassion. Mindfulness isn't just a tool for managing stress or improving focus. It's a pathway to living more fully. When we're mindful, we appreciate the richness of each moment, whether it's the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the sound of laughter, or the quiet stillness of solitude. We stop taking things for granted and start seeing the beauty in the ordinary. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to carry mindfulness with you throughout the rest of your day. Whenever you find yourself feeling scattered or overwhelmed, pause and take a few mindful breaths. Ground yourself in the present moment, even if only briefly. With each mindful pause, you strengthen your capacity for presence and self-compassion. Remember, mindfulness is a lifelong practice, not a destination. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. Be patient with yourself as you explore this new way of being. Every step you take brings you closer to a life filled with peace, joy, and authenticity. Thank you for joining me in exploring the foundations of mindfulness. You're already laying the groundwork for profound transformation, and let's continue this journey together. Chapter 3, Loving Kindness Meditation. Welcome to Chapter 3 of our journey together, Loving Kindness Meditation. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most transformative practices for cultivating self-compassion. Metta, or loving kindness meditation. This ancient Buddhist practice invites us to open our hearts, not only to others but also to ourselves, and extend unconditional love and kindness. Loving kindness meditation is a powerful antidote to the inner critic that so often dominates our thoughts. It helps us shift from self-judgment to self-acceptance, from isolation to connection, and from fear to love. By practicing metta regularly, we begin to dissolve barriers between ourselves and others, fostering a deep sense of unity and compassion. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that we are worthy of love, not because of what we do, but simply because we exist. Let's start by understanding what loving kindness meditation is all about. At its core, this practice involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill and kindness, first directed toward ourselves, then toward others. These phrases act as seeds planted in the soil of our consciousness, gradually blossoming into feelings of warmth, empathy, and care. While the words themselves may seem simple, their repetition creates a profound ripple effect, softening the heart and expanding our capacity to love. The origins of loving kindness meditation trace back to Buddhist teachings, where it's considered one of the 4 Brahmaviharas, or divine abodes. These states of mind represent qualities like loving kindness, metta compassion, karuna joy, mudita and equanimity, upekkha. Together they form the foundation for living a life of harmony and interconnectedness. Among these, metta holds a special place because it serves as the gateway to the others. When we cultivate loving kindness, we naturally become more compassionate, joyful, and balanced. Now let's dive deeper into how loving kindness meditation works. The practice typically begins with directing kind intentions toward ourselves. This might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to being hard on yourself. But remember, self-love isn't selfish, it's essential. Just as you can't pour from an empty cup, you can't truly offer love to others unless you've nurtured it within yourself. Here's a step-by-step guide to practicing loving kindness meditation. Find a comfortable position. Sit or lie down in a way that feels supportive and relaxed. Close your eyes if you'd like, or soften your gaze. Take a few deep breaths to settle into the moment. Set your intention. Remind yourself why you're doing this practice. Perhaps you want to feel more connected to yourself, reduce stress, or cultivate greater compassion. Whatever your reason, hold it gently in your awareness. Begin with yourself. Silently repeat phrases of kindness toward yourself. Traditional examples include, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease." Feel free to adapt these phrases to suit your personal needs. For instance, you might say, "May I be at peace," or "May I forgive myself." Say these words slowly and sincerely, allowing them to sink into your heart. Notice any resistance. As you direct kindness toward yourself, you might encounter resistance, feelings of unworthiness, doubt, or discomfort. That's perfectly normal. Simply acknowledge these emotions without judgment and continue repeating the phrases. Over time, they'll help soften any barriers you've built around your heart. Extend kindness to others. Once you've spent some time focusing on yourself, expand your circle of compassion. Begin with someone you care about deeply, a close friend, family member, or mentor. Picture them in your mind's eye and silently wish them well using similar phrases. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Next, think of someone neutral, a person you don't have strong feelings for, such as a neighbor or co-worker. Offer them the same wishes of kindness. Then move on to someone challenging, someone who has hurt you or caused difficulty in your life. This part of the practice can feel particularly difficult, but it's also where the magic happens. By extending compassion to those who challenge us, we break free from cycles of resentment and anger. Finally, broaden your focus to include all beings everywhere. Imagine sending waves of loving kindness out into the world, embracing everyone, friends, strangers, enemies, and even yourself, with the same boundless care. You might use phrases like, "May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. Take your time with each stage of the practice. There's no rush. Let the words flow naturally and allow your heart to open as much as it's ready to. Why does loving kindness meditation work? On a psychological level, it rewires our brains to focus on positivity rather than negativity. Research shows that regular practice increases activity in areas associated with empathy, emotional regulation, and happiness, while decreasing symptoms of anxiety, depression, and stress. On a spiritual level, it connects us to something larger than ourselves, a universal field of love that transcends individual boundaries. One of the beautiful things about loving kindness meditation is its versatility. You can practice it anywhere, at home, during your commute, or even while waiting in line. It doesn't require any special equipment or setting. All it takes is a willingness to show up and open your heart. Let's try a guided version of this practice together now. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Feel your body relax with each exhale. Now bring your attention inward and silently repeat the following phrases. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. As you say these words, notice how they land in your heart. Do you feel warmth, softness, or perhaps a slight resistance? Whatever arises is okay. Keep repeating the phrases, allowing them to sink deeper with each iteration. Now picture someone you care about deeply. Visualize their face, their smile, their presence. Silently send them the same wishes. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Next, think of someone neutral, a person you don't know well but interact with occasionally. Extend the same kindness to them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Then consider someone challenging. This could be someone who has hurt you, frustrated you, or made your life difficult. Without condoning their actions, imagine offering them the same wishes of kindness. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Finally, expand your focus to include all beings everywhere. Imagine sending waves of loving kindness out into the world, embracing everyone with the same boundless care. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. Take a few moments to sit quietly with these feelings of love and connection. Notice how your heart feels softer, lighter, and more expansive. It's worth noting that loving kindness meditation isn't always easy. Some days you might struggle to feel anything at all. Other days you might be flooded with emotions, both positive and negative. That's all part of the process. What matters most is showing up consistently and planting those seeds of kindness, even when it feels challenging. Over time, they'll grow into a lush garden of compassion. Another key aspect of loving kindness meditation is its ability to dissolve feelings of separation. In our modern world, it's easy to feel disconnected from ourselves, from others, and from nature. But when we practice metta, we tap into a deeper truth. We are all interconnected. The same breath that fills your lungs animates every living being. The same sun that warms your skin nourishes plants, animals, and ecosystems. Recognizing this shared existence fosters a sense of belonging and responsibility, not just for ourselves, but for the collective whole. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to carry the spirit of loving kindness with you throughout your day. Whenever you encounter someone, whether in person, online, or even in passing, silently wish them well. You don't need to verbalize it. Simply holding that intention in your heart can create ripples of positivity. Remember, self-compassion starts with treating yourself kindly. Every time you repeat those phrases, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, you affirm your inherent worthiness. You remind yourself that you deserve love, not because of what you achieve, but simply because you are. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of loving-kindness meditation. You're already taking steps toward a life filled with warmth, connection, and peace. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 4. Understanding Impermanence. Welcome to Chapter 4 of our journey together, Understanding Impermanence. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most profound teachings from Buddhism, the concept of impermanence. At first glance, this idea might seem daunting or even unsettling. After all, who wants to dwell on the fact that everything changes? But when we embrace impermanence with an open heart and mind, it becomes a source of liberation, peace, and wisdom. Impermanence is the recognition that nothing in life remains static, not our emotions, not our relationships, not even our physical bodies. Everything is in constant flux, shifting and evolving moment by moment. While this truth can feel uncomfortable at times, it's also deeply empowering. When we accept that change is inevitable, we stop clinging to what we cannot control. Instead, we learn to cherish each moment as it unfolds, finding beauty in the fleeting and joy in the transient. Let's begin by unpacking why impermanence matters so much, not just philosophically, but practically. Think about the last time you felt stuck in a difficult situation. Maybe you were overwhelmed by sadness after a loss, frustrated by a setback at work, or anxious about an uncertain future. Chances are, part of your suffering stemmed from resisting the reality of change. We often hold on tightly to what we want, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a particular outcome, and resist letting go when circumstances shift. This resistance creates tension, amplifying our pain. But what if we could meet change with curiosity instead of fear? What if we saw impermanence not as a threat, but as an opportunity? By embracing the truth that everything passes, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We realize that no matter how dark or challenging the present moment feels, it too will pass. And conversely, we learn to save moments of joy without clinging to them, knowing they won't last forever either. The teaching of impermanence is central to Buddhist philosophy. One of the Buddha's key insights was that attachment to permanence is a primary cause of human suffering. When we cling to people, possessions, or ideals, we set ourselves up for disappointment because nothing stays the same. On the other hand, when we let go of attachment and embrace impermanence, we create space for contentment and freedom. Now let's delve deeper into how impermanence shows up in our lives. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever noticed how quickly emotions come and go? One moment you might feel elated, the next you're weighed down by frustration or doubt. These shifts remind us that feelings are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. They arise, linger for a while, and then dissolve, making room for new ones. The same principle applies to external circumstances. Relationships evolve, careers take unexpected turns, and seasons cycle through their natural rhythms. Even our bodies undergo constant transformation, from the cells regenerating every few days to the gradual aging process over decades. Recognizing these changes helps us relate to life with greater equanimity. One powerful way to connect with impermanence is through mindfulness. When we bring mindful awareness to the present moment, we notice the subtle ways in which things are always changing. For instance, consider the act of breathing. Each inhale brings fresh air into your lungs, while each exhale releases it back into the world. This simple exchange highlights the dynamic nature of existence. Every breath is unique, never to be repeated again. To deepen your understanding of impermanence, try this exercise. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and sit comfortably. Close your eyes if you'd like, or soften your gaze. Bring your attention to your breath, noticing the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. As you breathe, silently repeat the phrase, "Everything changes." Say these words slowly and deliberately, allowing their meaning to sink in. With each repetition, reflect on how true this statement is, not just in your own life, but in the world around you. Perhaps you think of a friendship that has evolved over time, a project that didn't turn out as planned, or the changing colors of autumn leaves. Whatever comes to mind, hold it gently in your awareness, acknowledging its impermanent nature. This practice isn't about forcing yourself to accept change, it's about cultivating an attitude of openness and curiosity. When we approach impermanence with mindfulness, we develop resilience. We learn to navigate life's ups and downs with grace, trusting that even the darkest storms eventually give way to clear skies. Another helpful perspective on impermanence comes from the Japanese art of kintsugi. This ancient technique involves repairing broken pottery with gold lacquer, celebrating flaws rather than hiding them. Kintsugi teaches us that cracks and fractures are not something to be ashamed of. They're part of the object's history, adding depth and character. Similarly, the challenges and losses we face in life leave marks on our hearts, shaping us into who we are. By embracing impermanence, we honor both the beauty and fragility of existence. Of course, accepting impermanence doesn't mean becoming indifferent to loss or hardship. It's natural to grieve when something dear to us ends, a relationship, a dream, or a chapter of life. Grief is a testament to love, a reminder of how deeply we cared. But impermanence reminds us that healing is possible too. Just as spring follows winter, new beginnings emerge from endings. Let's look at some practical ways to integrate impermanence into your daily life. One simple method is to use reminders throughout the day. For example, whenever you encounter something fleeting, a sunset, a flower blooming, or even a child laughing, you can pause and say to yourself, "This moment is precious because it won't last." These small acts of acknowledgement train your mind to appreciate the ephemeral nature of life. Another approach is to reflect on impermanence during transitions. Whether you're starting a new job, moving to a different city, or saying goodbye to someone you care about, take a moment to acknowledge the impermanence of the situation. Remind yourself that change is a natural part of growth and evolution. While it may feel bittersweet, it's also an invitation to embrace the unknown with courage and curiosity. Impermanence also offers a powerful antidote to perfectionism. Many of us strive endlessly for flawless outcomes, believing that achieving perfect will finally bring us happiness. But impermanence reminds us that perfection is an illusion. Nothing stays perfect forever. Not our achievements, our appearances, nor our circumstances. By letting go of the pursuit of perfection, we make space for authenticity and self-compassion. Now, let's explore how impermanence relates to self-love and self-acceptance. Often we judge ourselves harshly for traits or behaviors we wish were different. We criticize our appearance, our abilities, or our emotional responses, believing that if only we could fix these aspects, we'd finally be worthy of love. But impermanence invites us to see ourselves more clearly. Our flaws, quirks, and struggles are not permanent fixtures. They're part of the ever-changing mosaic of who we are. By embracing impermanence, we release the pressure to be fixed or finished. Instead, we recognize that we're works in progress, continually growing and evolving. This perspective allows us to treat ourselves with greater kindness and patience. We stop demanding immediate perfection and start celebrating incremental progress. To illustrate this point, imagine planting a seed in the ground. At first, there's no visible sign of growth. It's just a tiny speck buried beneath the soil. But over time, given the right conditions, the seed sprouts, grows roots, and eventually blossoms into a vibrant plant. Your personal growth works the same way. Change happens gradually, often invisibly, until one day you realize how far you've come. Let's try another guided reflection to connect with impermanence on a deeper level. Sit comfortably, close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Now, bring to mind something in your life that has changed recently. Perhaps a relationship, a goal, or even your sense of identity. Notice how you feel about this change. Do you feel resistance, sadness, relief, or excitement? Whatever arises is okay. Simply observe it without judgment. Next, visualize this change as a river flowing past you. Watch as the waters carry away what's old, making space for what's new. Silently repeat these phrases. I release what no longer serves me. I welcome the flow of life. Change is my ally, guiding me toward growth. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders as you surrender to the inevitability of change and trust that whatever lies ahead holds potential for renewal and transformation. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to carry the wisdom of impermanence with you throughout your day. Whenever you find yourself struggling with uncertainty or loss, remind yourself, this too shall pass. And when you experience moments of joy, savor them fully, knowing they're gifts meant to be cherished. Remember, impermanence isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It teaches us to live more fully, love more deeply, and find peace in the ever-unfolding mystery of life. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of impermanence. You're already cultivating a mindset of openness and acceptance, paving the way for greater self-compassion and fulfillment. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 5: Cultivating Gratitude. Welcome to Chapter 5 of our journey together, Cultivating Gratitude. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most transformative practices for nurturing self-compassion and enhancing your overall well-being: gratitude. While gratitude might seem like a simple concept, its impact is profound. It has the power to shift your perspective, deepen your connection with yourself and others, and infuse your life with joy and meaning. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you or acknowledging good fortune. It's a way of seeing the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. When we practice gratitude, we train ourselves to focus on what we do have instead of fixating on what we lack. This subtle yet powerful shift in mindset can transform how we experience life, helping us find beauty in the ordinary and strength in the face of challenges. Let's begin by understanding why gratitude matters so much, not just emotionally but scientifically. Research shows that practicing gratitude regularly can improve mental health, increase resilience, and even strengthen relationships. Studies have found that people who keep gratitude journals report higher levels of happiness and lower levels of stress compared to those who don't. Gratitude activates areas of the brain associated with reward processing, empathy, and social bonding, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforces feelings of well-being. From a spiritual perspective, gratitude aligns closely with teachings from Buddhism and other wisdom traditions. In Buddhism, gratitude is seen as a form of mindfulness, an intentional act of noticing and appreciating gifts already present in our lives. These gifts may come in many forms: supportive relationships, moments of kindness, the beauty of nature, or simply the breath that sustains us. By cultivating gratitude, we counteract tendencies toward dissatisfaction and craving, which are often at the root of suffering. Now, let's delve deeper into how gratitude works and why it's such a powerful tool for fostering self-compassion. One of the key reasons gratitude is so effective is that it helps us reframe our experiences. Instead of focusing solely on difficulties or setbacks, we learn to look for silver linings, however small they may be. For example, if you've had a tough day at work, practicing gratitude might involve reflecting on the fact that you made it through the day, learned something new, or received support from a colleague. This doesn't mean ignoring your struggles, rather, it means holding them alongside an awareness of the positives, creating a more balanced view of reality. Another benefit of gratitude is its ability to foster connection. When we express appreciation for others, we strengthen our bonds with them. Think about the last time someone thanked you sincerely for something you did. How did it make you feel? Likely it brought warmth and validation, reminding you of your value. Similarly, when we express gratitude toward ourselves for our efforts, strengths, or growth, we reinforce a sense of self-worth and belonging. So, how do we cultivate gratitude in a meaningful way? There are countless practices to choose from, but one of the simplest and most impactful is keeping a gratitude journal. A gratitude journal is exactly what it sounds like, a dedicated space where you write down things you're thankful for each day. These entries can range from significant events, I'm grateful I landed my dream job, to small pleasures, I enjoyed my morning coffee. The act of writing forces you to slow down and notice details you might otherwise overlook, deepening your appreciation for life's richness. If you're new to gratitude journaling, here's a step-by-step guide to get started. Choose your journal. Find a notebook or digital app that feels inviting to use. It doesn't need to be fancy, just something that makes you want to return to it regularly. Set aside time. Decide when and where you'll write in your journal. Many people prefer doing this first thing in the morning or before bed, but any consistent time works as long as it suits your routine. Start small. Begin by listing 3 things you're grateful for each day. They can be big or small, obvious or subtle. Over time, you might expand this list or add reflections on why these things matter to you. Be specific. Instead of writing general statements like, I'm grateful for my family, try including specific details. I'm grateful my sister called me today because it reminded me how much she cares. Specificity amplifies the emotional impact of gratitude. Reflect regularly. Periodically review past entries to remind yourself of all the good in your life. This habit not only boosts mood, but also provides perspective during challenging times. Beyond journaling, there are many other ways to practice gratitude. One powerful method is incorporating gratitude into daily conversations. Make it a point to thank people sincerely throughout the day, whether it's a barista serving your coffee, a friend lending a listening ear, or a stranger holding the door open. Expressing gratitude verbally strengthens relationships and spreads positivity. Another approach is practicing gratitude meditations. Similar to loving kindness meditation, gratitude meditations involve silently reflecting on the things you appreciate. To try this, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Then bring to mind someone or something you're grateful for. Picture it clearly in your mind's eye and allow feelings of appreciation to arise naturally. Silently repeat phrases like, I am grateful for this moment. I am grateful for the people in my life. I am grateful for my body and all it allows me to do. As you linger in this state of gratitude, notice how your heart feels lighter, softer, and more expansive. Let's take a moment now to reflect on how gratitude intersects with self-compassion. Often, when we struggle with self-criticism or low self-esteem, we focus exclusively on our perceived flaws. Practicing gratitude toward ourselves flips this script. It invites us to recognize our strengths, celebrate our progress, and honor the effort we put into our lives, even when outcomes aren't perfect. For instance, imagine you gave a presentation at work that didn't go as planned. Instead of berating yourself for mistakes, you could say, I'm grateful I had the courage to step up and share my ideas. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn and grow from this experience. I'm grateful for the skills I've developed over time that allowed me to prepare. These affirmations help you shift from judgment to appreciation, reinforcing a kinder relationship with yourself. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in overcoming comparison, a common source of dissatisfaction in today's hyper-connected world. Social media, advertising, and societal pressures often lead us to measure ourselves against unrealistic standards. We envy others' successes, appearances, or lifestyles, forgetting to appreciate our own unique journey. Practicing gratitude reminds us that everyone's path is different and that our individual story has value. To combat comparison, try this exercise. Whenever you catch yourself feeling envious of someone else, pause and ask yourself, what am I grateful for in my own life? Redirecting your focus inward helps break the cycle of comparison and cultivates contentment. And let's explore some creative ways to integrate gratitude into your daily life. Here are a few ideas to inspire you. Create a gratitude jar. Place an empty jar somewhere visible in your home. Each day, write down one thing you're grateful for on a slip of paper and drop it inside. Over time, the jar fills with reminders of positivity, which you can revisit whenever you need a boost. Practice gratitude. Walks. Take a mindful walk outdoors and pay attention to the sights, sounds, and smells around you. As you notice details, a blooming flower, birdsong, or fresh air, silently express gratitude for them. Send thank you notes. Write letters or messages to people who've positively impacted your life. You don't need a special occasion. Simply expressing heartfelt thanks can brighten someone's day and yours. Use visual reminders. Place sticky notes with gratitude prompts around your home or workspace. Phrases like, "What am I grateful for today?" serve as gentle nudges to pause and reflect. While gratitude offers immense benefits, it's important to acknowledge that it isn't always easy. During difficult times, finding things to be thankful for might feel impossible. That's okay. Gratitude doesn't require ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. Instead, it involves holding space for both light and shadow, recognizing that even amidst hardship, glimmers of goodness exist. For example, if you're grieving a loss, you might feel grateful for memories shared with a loved one. If you're facing financial challenges, you might appreciate having a roof over your head or access to community resources. These acknowledgements don't diminish your struggles, they provide a lifeline of hope and resilience. Finally, let's talk about how gratitude connects us to something larger than ourselves. When we practice gratitude, we tap into a universal web of interdependence. Every breath we take, every meal we eat, every interaction we have depends on countless factors beyond our control. The sun shining, farmers growing food, friends offering support. Recognizing this interconnectedness fosters humility and compassion, reminding us that we're part of a greater whole. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to carry the spirit of gratitude with you throughout your day. Notice the little things, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the laughter of a child, the comfort of a cozy blanket. Let these moments remind you of life's abundance, even in its imperfections. Remember, gratitude is a practice, not a destination. Some days will flow effortlessly while others may require extra effort. Be patient with yourself as you cultivate this habit. Over time, it will become second nature, enriching your life in ways you never imagined. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of gratitude. You're already taking steps toward a life filled with appreciation, connection, and joy. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 6. Letting go of comparison. Welcome to Chapter 6 of our journey together, Letting Go of Comparison. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most pervasive yet insidious obstacles to self-compassion, the habit of comparing ourselves to others. Whether it's on social media, in professional settings, or even within our personal relationships, comparison can quietly erode our sense of self-worth and leave us feeling inadequate. But here's the good news. By understanding why we compare and learning how to let go of this tendency, we can reclaim our peace, joy, and authenticity. Comparison is a deeply human experience. From an evolutionary perspective, it served a purpose. It helped early humans assess their standing within a group, ensuring survival and cooperation. But in today's hyper-connected world, comparison has taken on a life of its own. Social media platforms showcase curated highlight reels of people's lives, making it easy to fall into the trap of thinking everyone else is happier, more successful, or more fulfilled than we are. This constant measuring against others creates a cycle of dissatisfaction and self-doubt that can feel impossible to escape. Let's start by unpacking why comparison feels so natural and why it's so harmful. At its core, comparison stems from a desire for validation and belonging. We want to know where we stand, whether we're good enough, or if we measure up to societal standards. But when we base our self-worth on external benchmarks, how much money someone makes, how many followers they have, or how picture-perfect their life seems, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Why? Because no matter how much we achieve or acquire, there will always be someone who appears to have more. The problem with comparison isn't just that it leads to envy or insecurity, It also distracts us from what truly matters, living authentically and cultivating inner contentment. When we're busy comparing ourselves to others, we lose sight of our unique strengths, passions, and values. We forget that everyone's journey is different, shaped by individual circumstances, challenges, and opportunities. By letting go of comparison, we create space to honor our own path and celebrate our progress, however imperfect it may seem. Now let's delve deeper into how comparison shows up in our lives. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences, and have you ever scrolled through social media and felt a pang of inadequacy after seeing someone's vacation photos, career milestones, or relationship updates? Or maybe you've compared yourself to colleagues at work, wondering why you haven't reached the same level of success. These moments are incredibly common, but they don't define your worth. They simply highlight the need to shift your focus inward. One powerful way to break free from comparison is through mindfulness. When we practice mindful awareness, we become more attuned to the thoughts and emotions that arise during moments of comparison. Instead of reacting impulsively, perhaps by criticizing ourselves or striving harder to catch up, we pause and observe these feelings without judgment. This pause gives us the clarity to ask important questions. Why am I feeling this way? What am I afraid of losing or gaining by comparing myself to others? How would my energy change if I focused on my own growth instead? By examining these questions honestly, we begin to dismantle the grip of comparison. We realize that much of our suffering comes not from reality itself, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it. Another helpful tool for overcoming comparison is reframing. Reframing involves shifting your perspective to see situations in a new light. For example, instead of envying someone's achievements, you might view them as inspiration. Ask yourself, what qualities does this person embody that I admire? How can I incorporate those qualities into my own life? What steps can I take today to align with my goals and values? This approach transforms comparison from a source of pain into a catalyst for growth. It reminds us that we don't need to compete with others. We simply need to show up fully as ourselves. Let's look at some practical strategies for letting go of comparison. One effective method is limiting exposure to triggers like social media. While technology has brought incredible benefits, it's also amplified the pressure to compare. Consider setting boundaries around your screen time. For instance, designating specific hours for checking social media or taking regular breaks from it altogether. Use this freed up time to engage in activities that nourish your soul, such as reading, journaling, or spending time in nature. Another strategy is practicing gratitude, which we explored in the previous chapter. Gratitude shifts your attention away from lack and toward abundance, helping you appreciate what you already have. Whenever you catch yourself comparing, pause and ask, what am I grateful for in my own life? How does my unique journey contribute to my growth and happiness? These reflections anchor you in the present moment, reducing the urge to measure yourself against others. Self-compassion also plays a crucial role in breaking free from comparison. When we treat ourselves kindly, we stop relying on external validation to feel worthy. Imagine a friend confiding in you about their struggles with comparison. Would you respond with criticism or encouragement? Chances are you'd offer words of comfort and support. Extend that same kindness to yourself. Remind yourself that imperfection is part of being human and that your value isn't determined by how you stack up against others. To deepen your understanding of this process, let's try a guided exercise. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Now bring to mind a recent situation where you found yourself comparing your life to someone else's. Notice how it felt in your body, perhaps tightness in your chest, heaviness in your stomach, or tension in your jaw. Simply observe these sensations without judgment. Next, imagine placing that feeling of comparison in a bubble and gently releasing it into the air. Watch as the bubble floats away, carrying with it any lingering resentment or envy. Silently repeat these phrases. I release the need to compare myself to others. I trust my own journey and timing. I am enough exactly as I am. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders as you surrender the burden of comparison. Trust that your path is unfolding exactly as it should, filled with lessons and opportunities tailored uniquely to you. And let's talk about how comparison impacts creativity and innovation. Many people believe that comparing themselves to others motivates them to improve, but research suggests otherwise. Constantly measuring yourself against external standards stifles originality and self-expression. It encourages conformity rather than exploration, leading to burnout and dissatisfaction. On the other hand, embracing your individuality fosters creativity and fulfillment. When you focus on what lights you up rather than what impresses others, you unlock your true potential. For instance, consider artists, writers, or entrepreneurs who succeed despite or because of ignoring trends and staying true to their vision. Their work resonates because it's authentic, not because it fits neatly into someone else's mold. You too have a unique voice and perspective to share with the world. By letting go of comparison, you give yourself permission to shine brightly in your own way. Let's explore another dimension of comparison, its impact on relationships. Often we compare ourselves not only to strangers or acquaintances, but also to loved ones. We might envy a partner's ability to stay calm under pressure, a sibling's academic achievements, or a friend's seemingly effortless charm. While admiration can inspire growth, excessive comparison breeds resentment and disconnection. It blinds us to the beauty of our own contributions and undermines mutual appreciation. To nurture healthier relationships, practice celebrating others' successes without diminishing your own. When someone achieves something remarkable, congratulate them wholeheartedly. Then, redirect your focus inward, asking, what qualities do I bring to this relationship that make it stronger? How can I continue growing in ways that align with my values? This mindset fosters collaboration over competition, strengthening bonds and creating a culture of mutual support. Finally, let's address the fear that letting go of comparison means settling for mediocrity. This couldn't be further from the truth. Releasing the need to compare doesn't mean giving up on growth or ambition. Instead, it means pursuing goals that resonate with your authentic self, not those dictated by societal expectations or peer pressure. It means striving for excellence out of love for the process, not fear of falling short. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to carry the intention of non-comparison with you throughout your day. Whenever you notice yourself slipping into comparison mode, gently remind yourself, this is my journey and it's unfolding perfectly. Redirect your energy toward activities that fuel your passion and purpose. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, rather than those who trigger feelings of inadequacy. Remember, letting go of comparison is a lifelong practice, not a one-time fix. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. Be patient with yourself as you navigate this terrain. Over time, you'll find that the less you compare, the freer and more joyful you become. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of letting go of comparison. You're already taking steps toward a life filled with authenticity, connection, and peace. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 7. Embracing Vulnerability. Welcome to Chapter 7 of our journey together. Embracing Vulnerability. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most courageous yet misunderstood aspects of being human: vulnerability. For many of us, vulnerability feels uncomfortable or even dangerous. We associate it with weakness, exposure, or fear of rejection. But what if I told you that embracing vulnerability is actually a path to strength, authenticity, and deeper connection? Vulnerability is the willingness to show up as your true self, even when you're uncertain, scared, or unsure of the outcome. It's about leaning into discomfort rather than avoiding it, trusting that your authentic presence has value. Brené Brown, a renowned researcher on vulnerability, defines it as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. While these elements might sound intimidating, they're also the very things that make life meaningful. Love, creativity, belonging, and growth all require some level of vulnerability. Without it, we stay stuck in protective shells, missing out on the richness of human experience. Let's begin by unpacking why vulnerability matters so much, not just emotionally, but spiritually and psychologically. At its core, vulnerability bridges the gap between isolation and connection. When we allow ourselves to be seen, flaws and all, we create opportunities for genuine relationships. People don't connect with perfection, they connect with realness. By sharing our struggles, fears, and hopes, we invite others to do the same, fostering a sense of mutual understanding and empathy. From a Buddhist perspective, vulnerability aligns closely with teachings on impermanence and interconnectedness. Life is inherently uncertain, and clinging to control or certainty only leads to suffering. When we embrace vulnerability, we surrender to the flow of existence, trusting that even amidst uncertainty, there's beauty and wisdom to be found. This openness creates space for compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. Now let's delve deeper into how vulnerability shows up in our lives. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever held back from expressing your true feelings because you feared judgment or rejection? Or avoided taking risks because failure seemed unbearable? These moments are incredibly common, but they come at a cost. When we suppress vulnerability, we cut ourselves off from growth, creativity, and intimacy. We trade authenticity for safety, often without realizing how much we're sacrificing in the process. One powerful way to understand vulnerability is through storytelling. Think about times when someone shared their story with you, perhaps a friend opening up about a personal struggle, a mentor discussing past failures, or a public figure speaking candidly about their challenges. Chances are hearing those stories touched you deeply, creating a sense of connection and inspiration. That's the power of vulnerability. It reminds us that we're not alone. But embracing vulnerability isn't just about sharing our stories, it's also about listening to them within ourselves. Often we silence our inner voices out of fear or shame. We tell ourselves, I shouldn't feel this way, or no one will understand. These internal barriers keep us trapped in cycles of self-doubt and disconnection. By tuning into our emotions and honoring them, we begin to dismantle these walls, allowing our authentic selves to emerge. Let's explore some practical ways to cultivate vulnerability in daily life. One effective method is practicing self-compassion. When we treat ourselves kindly, we reduce the fear of being judged or rejected. Imagine a child coming to you with tears in their eyes, seeking comfort. Would you dismiss their pain or offer reassurance? Chances are you'd respond with warmth and care. Extend that same compassion to yourself when you feel vulnerable. Remind yourself that it's okay to feel uncertain or scared, that these emotions are part of the human experience. Another strategy is reframing vulnerability as courage rather than weakness. Each time you step outside your comfort zone, whether it's speaking your truth, asking for help, or pursuing a dream, you're demonstrating immense bravery. Celebrate these moments no matter how small they seem. Over time, this mindset shift helps build resilience, making it easier to embrace vulnerability in the future. To deepen your understanding of this process, let's try a guided exercise. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Now bring to mind a recent situation where you felt vulnerable. Perhaps it was sharing your feelings with a loved one, trying something new, or admitting a mistake. Notice how it felt in your body, maybe tension in your shoulders, butterflies in your stomach, or warmth in your chest. Simply observe these sensations without judgment. Next, imagine wrapping that feeling of vulnerability in a cocoon of light. Visualize this light as a source of protection and empowerment, reminding you that you're safe and supported. Silently repeat these phrases. I honor my courage in showing up authentically. I trust myself to navigate uncertainty. Vulnerability is a gift, not a flaw. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders as you reframe vulnerability as a strength, Trust that each time you lean into discomfort, you're growing stronger and more resilient. Now, let's talk about how vulnerability impacts relationships. Many people believe that being vulnerable makes them appear weak or needy, but the opposite is true. Vulnerability fosters trust and intimacy, creating a foundation for healthy, lasting connections. When we share our true selves with others, we give them permission to do the same. This reciprocity strengthens bonds and deepens understanding. For example, consider romantic relationships. Couples who communicate openly about their needs, fears, and desires tend to have stronger partnerships than those who avoid difficult conversations. Similarly, friendships thrive when both parties feel safe enough to be honest and authentic. Even professional relationships benefit from vulnerability. Leaders who admit mistakes and seek input from their teams inspire loyalty and innovation. To nurture healthier relationships, practice active listening and empathetic communication. When someone shares something vulnerable with you, resist the urge to fix or minimize their feelings. Instead, validate their experience by saying things like, "Thank you for sharing that with me," or "I hear you and I'm here for you." These simple acts of acknowledgement go a long way in building trust and connection. Let's look at another dimension of vulnerability, its role in creativity and self-expression. Artists, writers, performers, and innovators know that creating something new requires taking risks, whether it's putting pen to paper, stepping onto a stage, or launching a business idea. Every act of creation involves exposing oneself to potential criticism or failure. Yet, it's precisely this willingness to be vulnerable that allows great works to emerge. If you've ever hesitated to express your ideas or showcase your talents because of fear, remember this. Vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity. By embracing uncertainty and trusting the process, you unlock your ability to innovate and inspire. Start small, share a poem with a trusted friend, post a painting online, or pitch an idea at work. Each step forward builds confidence and reinforces the belief that your voice matters. Finally, let's address the fear that embracing vulnerability means losing control or inviting harm. While it's natural to worry about rejection or hurt, vulnerability doesn't mean abandoning boundaries or ignoring red flags. Healthy vulnerability is rooted in discernment. It's about choosing whom to trust and when to open up. Surround yourself with people who respect and value your authenticity and set clear limits with those who don't. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to carry the intention of embracing vulnerability with you throughout your day. Whenever you notice yourself holding back out of fear, gently remind yourself, "I am brave enough to show up as I am." Take small steps toward authenticity, whether it's sharing your thoughts with a friend, trying something new, or simply acknowledging your emotions without judgment. Remember, vulnerability is a muscle that grows stronger with use. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. Be patient with yourself as you navigate this terrain. Over time, you'll find that the more you embrace vulnerability, the freer and more alive you become. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of embracing vulnerability. You're already taking steps toward a life filled with courage, authenticity, and connection. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 8: Healing Inner Criticism. Welcome to Chapter 8 of our journey together, Healing Inner Criticism. In this chapter, we'll explore one of the most pervasive yet insidious barriers to self-compassion, the inner critic. That relentless voice inside your head that judges, doubts, and belittles you, often without mercy. For many of us, this voice has been a lifelong companion, shaping how we see ourselves and interact with the world. But here's the truth: the inner critic doesn't have to rule your life. By understanding its origins and learning how to silence, or at least soften it, you can reclaim your peace, confidence, and joy. The inner critic is like an uninvited guest who refuses to leave. It whispers cruel things about your worthiness, competence, or appearance, often disguised as helpful advice. You might hear it say things like, "You're not good enough? Why can't you get it right? No one will ever truly love you." These messages feel so real, so convincing, that we begin to believe them. Over time, they erode our self-esteem, fuel anxiety, and keep us stuck in cycles of self-doubt. But here's the key insight. The inner critic isn't inherently evil. It arises from a place of protection, a misguided attempt to keep us safe from failure, rejection, or harm. Understanding this can help us approach it with curiosity rather than hostility, paving the way for healing. Let's start by unpacking why the inner critic exists and why it feels so powerful. From a psychological perspective, the inner critic develops early in life as a response to external pressures. As children, we absorb messages from caregivers, teachers, peers, and society about what it means to be good, successful, or worthy. When these expectations aren't met, we internalize criticism, creating a mental script that replays itself throughout adulthood. For example, imagine a child being scolded for making mistakes or told they'll never amount to anything unless they work harder. These words lodge deep in the subconscious, forming the foundation of the inner critic. Even if those original voices are no longer present, their echoes linger, manifesting as self-judgment and fear. From a Buddhist perspective, the inner critic reflects attachment to perfection and aversion to imperfection. It thrives on dualistic thinking, the belief that there's a right way to be and a wrong way to be. This mindset creates suffering because it denies the reality of human imperfection. When we cling to ideals of flawlessness, we reject parts of ourselves, perpetuating cycles of shame and dissatisfaction. Now let's delve deeper into how the inner critic operates in our lives. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever found yourself paralyzed by self-doubt before starting a project? Or overwhelmed by guilt after making a mistake? These moments are incredibly common, but they don't define your worth. They simply highlight the need to rewire your relationship with the inner critic. One powerful way to heal inner criticism is through mindfulness. When we practice mindful awareness, we become more attuned to the thoughts and emotions triggered by the inner critic. Instead of reacting impulsively, perhaps by spiraling into negativity or striving harder to prove ourselves, we pause and observe these patterns without judgment. This pause gives us the clarity to ask important questions. Is this thought true, or is it just my inner critic talking? What would I say to a friend in this situation? How can I respond with kindness instead of criticism? By examining these questions honestly, we begin to dismantle the grip of the inner critic. We realize that much of our suffering comes not from reality itself, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it. Another helpful tool for healing inner criticism is reframing. Reframing involves shifting your perspective to see situations in a new light. For example, instead of interpreting a mistake as evidence of inadequacy, you might view it as an opportunity for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How has this challenge helped me develop resilience? What strengths did I demonstrate in navigating this difficulty? This approach transforms criticism from a source of pain into a catalyst for wisdom. It reminds us that imperfection is part of being human and that every setback carries seeds of transformation. To deepen your understanding of this process, let's try a guided exercise. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Now bring to mind a recent situation where your inner critic was particularly loud. Perhaps it was during a performance review, a social interaction, or even a quiet moment alone. Notice how it felt in your body, maybe tightness in your chest, heaviness in your stomach, or tension in your jaw. Simply observe these sensations without judgment. Next, imagine placing that critical voice in a bubble and gently releasing it into the air. Watch as the bubble floats away, carrying with it any lingering harshness or doubt. Silently repeat these phrases. I release the need to criticize myself. I am worthy, exactly as I am. I choose kindness over judgment. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders as you surrender the burden of self-criticism. Trust that you are enough, regardless of external validation or perceived flaws. Now let's talk about how self-compassion plays a crucial role in healing inner criticism. When we treat ourselves kindly, we counteract the negative scripts instilled by the inner critic. Imagine a dear friend confiding in you about their struggles with self-doubt. Would you respond with criticism or encouragement? Chances are you'd offer words of comfort and support. Extend that same compassion to yourself. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes, faces challenges, and feels inadequate at times. To nurture self-compassion, try writing a letter to yourself from the perspective of a loving friend. Start by acknowledging your struggles. I know you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, and I want you to know it's okay. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough. Then offer words of encouragement. You are stronger than you think, and you're capable of overcoming this. Your worth isn't determined by your achievements or appearances. Reading this letter regularly can help reprogram your mind, replacing self-criticism with self-kindness. Let's explore another dimension of inner criticism, its impact on creativity and self-expression. Many people hesitate to pursue creative endeavors out of fear of judgment or failure. The inner critic whispers, "Your work isn't good enough," or "Who do you think you are to try this?" These messages stifle innovation and prevent us from sharing our gifts with the world. To overcome this barrier, practice reframing creativity as an act of exploration rather than perfection. Give yourself permission to experiment, make mistakes, and learn along the way. Remember, every masterpiece began as a rough draft. Each step forward builds confidence and reinforces the belief that your voice matters. Finally, let's address the fear that silencing the inner critic means losing motivation or accountability. This couldn't be further from the truth. Releasing the need for harsh self-judgment doesn't mean giving up on growth or ambition. Instead, it means pursuing goals out of love for the process, not fear of falling short. It means striving for excellence while embracing imperfection. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to carry the intention of healing inner criticism with you throughout your day. Whenever you notice the inner critic speaking up, gently remind yourself, this is just a thought, not fact. Redirect your energy toward affirmations of kindness and strength. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, rather than those who trigger feelings of inadequacy. Remember, healing inner criticism is a lifelong practice, not a one-time fix. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. Be patient with yourself as you navigate this terrain. Over time, you'll find that the quieter the inner critic becomes, the freer and more joyful you become. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of healing inner criticism. You're already taking steps toward a life filled with authenticity, connection, and peace. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 9: Bringing Compassion into Daily Life. Welcome to Chapter 9 of our journey together, Bringing Compassion into Daily Life. In this chapter, we'll explore how to weave self-compassion and mindfulness into the fabric of your everyday existence. Up until now, we've focused on understanding concepts like impermanence, gratitude, vulnerability, and healing inner criticism. But true transformation happens when we take these insights off the meditation cushion and into the real world, the messy, unpredictable, beautiful reality of daily life. Compassion isn't just a practice reserved for quiet moments of reflection. It's a way of being that can infuse every interaction, decision, and challenge with greater meaning and purpose. By integrating compassion into your routines, relationships, and responsibilities, you create a life that feels more aligned with your deepest values. And while it may sound daunting at first, bringing compassion into daily life doesn't require grand gestures or drastic changes. It's about making small, intentional shifts that add up over time. Let's begin by exploring why integrating compassion into daily life is so important. not just for ourselves, but for those around us. When we act with kindness and empathy, we contribute to a ripple effect of positivity. Research shows that compassionate actions don't just benefit recipients, they also boost the well-being of the giver. Acts of kindness release oxytocin, the feel-good hormone, and reduce stress levels, creating a feedback loop of connection and joy. Moreover, when we model compassion, we inspire others to do the same, fostering a culture of care and understanding. From a Buddhist perspective, compassion is seen as one of the highest virtues, a force that connects all beings. The Dalai Lama famously said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." This teaching reminds us that compassion isn't separate from happiness, it is happiness. By prioritizing compassion in our lives, we align ourselves with a universal truth. We are interconnected and our actions matter. Now let's delve deeper into practical ways to bring compassion into your daily life. One of the simplest yet most powerful methods is starting each day with intention. Before you jump out of bed or check your phone, take a few moments to set a compassionate tone for the hours ahead. You might silently repeat phrases like, "May I meet myself with kindness today. May I extend compassion to others even when it's hard. May my actions create peace and harmony." These affirmations plant seeds of mindfulness and loving kindness, helping you navigate challenges with greater grace. Another effective strategy is incorporating mindful pauses throughout your day. Life moves quickly and it's easy to get swept away by tasks, deadlines, and distractions. Mindful pauses interrupt this momentum, giving you a chance to reconnect with yourself and the present moment. For example, before responding to an email, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, am I coming from a place of kindness and clarity? How would I feel if I received this message? This simple habit not only improves communication but also reduces reactive behaviors driven by stress or frustration. Let's talk about how compassion can transform challenging situations. Whether it's dealing with a difficult coworker, navigating family dynamics, or managing personal setbacks, approaching these moments with compassion softens their impact. Instead of reacting defensively or shutting down, try asking, what might this person be experiencing that I'm not seeing? How can I respond in a way that serves both of us? Even if the other person isn't receptive, choosing compassion reinforces your own sense of integrity and peace. Over time, this approach builds resilience, allowing you to face adversity with equanimity. To deepen your understanding of this process, let's try a guided exercise. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Now, bring to mind a recent situation where you felt triggered, perhaps a disagreement, a mistake, or a stressful event. Notice how it felt in your body, maybe tension in your shoulders, a racing heart, or shallow breathing. Simply observe these sensations without judgment. Next, imagine wrapping that experience in a cocoon of light. Visualize this light as a source of protection and empowerment, reminding you that you're safe and supported. Silently repeat these phrases. I choose compassion over conflict, a reminder that every step forward builds confidence and reinforces the belief that your voice matters. Finally, let's address the fear that silencing the inner critic means losing motivation or accountability. This couldn't be further from the truth. Releasing the need for harsh self-judgment doesn't mean giving up on growth or ambition. Instead, it means pursuing goals out of love for the process, not fear of falling short. It means striving for excellence while embracing imperfection. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to carry the intention of healing inner criticism with you throughout your day. Whenever you notice the inner critic speaking up, gently remind yourself, this is just a thought, not a fact. Redirect your energy toward affirmations of kindness and strength. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, rather than those who trigger feelings of inadequacy. Remember, healing inner criticism is a lifelong practice, not a one-time fix. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. Be patient with yourself as you navigate this terrain. Over time, you'll find that the quieter the inner critic becomes, the freer and more joyful you become. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of healing inner criticism. You're already taking steps toward a life filled with authenticity, connection, and peace. Let's continue this journey together. Chapter 10. Celebrating Your Journey. Welcome to Chapter 10 of our journey together, Celebrating Your Journey. In this final chapter, we'll take a moment to pause, reflect, and honor the incredible work you've done throughout this process. This isn't just an ending, it's a celebration of growth, resilience, and the seeds of transformation you've planted within yourself. Celebration might feel like an unusual concept when it comes to self-compassion or mindfulness. After all, many of us are conditioned to focus on what's next, what's missing, or what still needs improvement. But here's the truth. Celebrating your progress is not only joyful, it's essential. It reinforces positive habits, deepens self-trust, and reminds you that every step forward matters. Whether you've practiced meditation consistently, confronted your inner critic, or simply shown up with curiosity and openness, you deserve recognition for your efforts. Let's begin by reflecting on why celebration is so important. Not just emotionally, but psychologically and spiritually. From a psychological perspective, celebrating small wins boosts motivation and resilience. When we acknowledge our achievements, no matter how minor they seem, we reinforce neural pathways associated with success and confidence. Over time, this creates a virtuous cycle where each victory propels us toward the next. From a spiritual perspective, celebration aligns closely with gratitude, one of the foundational practices we explored earlier in this series. By taking time to appreciate your journey, you cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. You shift from asking, "What's wrong with me?" to affirming, "Look how far I've come." This perspective transforms challenges into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. Now let's delve deeper into what it means to celebrate your journey. Take a moment to think about everything you've learned and experienced over these past chapters. Perhaps you've discovered new tools for managing stress, developed a kinder relationship with yourself, or gained clarity about your values and goals. Maybe you've noticed subtle shifts in how you relate to others or approach difficult emotions. These changes may seem small, but they're incredibly significant. Transformation rarely happens overnight. It unfolds gradually, one mindful breath, one compassionate thought, one courageous action at a time. One powerful way to celebrate your journey is through reflection. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and sit comfortably. Close your eyes if you'd like, or soften your gaze. Take a few deep breaths, allowing yourself to settle into the present moment. Now bring to mind the following questions. What have I learned about myself during this journey? What moments stand out as particularly meaningful or transformative? How has my relationship with myself and others shifted? As answers arise, hold them gently in your awareness. Don't rush, simply allow yourself to savor the insights and memories. If you'd like, jot down your reflections in a journal. Writing not only solidifies your understanding, but also creates a record of your progress that you can return to whenever you need encouragement. Another way to celebrate your journey is through ritual. Rituals provide structure and meaning, helping us mark transitions and honor milestones. Consider creating a personal ceremony to acknowledge your growth. For example, you might light a candle and dedicate its glow to your courage and commitment, or gather meaningful objects, photos, mementos, or symbols of strength, and arrange them in a special place as a reminder of your accomplishments. To deepen your connection to this process, let's try a guided visualization. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you'd like, and take a few deep breaths. Now imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, serene lake. The water is calm, reflecting the sky above like a mirror. As you gaze across the surface, notice images beginning to form, scenes from your journey. Picture moments of struggle and triumph, laughter and tears, breakthroughs and breakthroughs in progress. Allow these images to flow naturally without judgment or attachment. Simply witness them as they appear, knowing that each one represents a piece of your story. Now imagine placing a golden lotus flower onto the surface of the lake. Watch as it floats gently, radiating warmth and light. Silently repeat these phrases. I honor my courage and persistence. I celebrate every step I've taken towards self-compassion. I trust that my journey continues to unfold beautifully. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders as you release any lingering doubts or fears. Trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be, carrying the wisdom of your experiences with grace and gratitude. Now let's talk about how celebration extends beyond individual growth. It ripples outward, touching those around you. When we celebrate ourselves authentically, we inspire others to do the same. Think about someone who has celebrated their own achievements openly, whether it's a friend sharing a proud moment, a colleague acknowledging their hard work, a public figure speaking candidly about overcoming adversity. Their vulnerability and joy likely resonated with you, reminding you of your own capacity for greatness. To spread this energy of celebration, consider expressing appreciation for the people who've supported you along the way. Write a heartfelt note to a mentor, call a loved one to say thank you, or simply smile at a stranger. Acts of kindness amplify the joy of celebration, creating a shared sense of connection and belonging. Let's explore another dimension of celebration, embracing imperfection. Many of us hesitate to celebrate because we fear we haven't done enough or reached some arbitrary standard of success. But true celebration isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about recognizing that every effort counts, every stumble teaches, and every moment contributes to your evolution. For example, imagine a gardener tending to plants. They don't wait until the flowers bloom perfectly to appreciate their work. Instead, they celebrate each stage, the seedling breaking through soil, the first sprout reaching toward the sun, the buds forming before blossoming. Similarly, your journey deserves celebration at every phase, regardless of external outcomes. Finally, let's address the fear that celebrating your journey might lead to complacency. This couldn't be further from the truth. Acknowledging your progress doesn't mean stopping, it means fueling your momentum. Celebration recharges your spirit, giving you the energy and motivation to keep moving forward. It reminds you that growth is a lifelong adventure, not a destination. As we wrap up this chapter and this entire journey, I invite you to carry the spirit of celebration with you always. Whenever you notice yourself doubting your worth or minimizing your achievements, pause and remind yourself, I am worthy of celebration. Honor your unique path, trusting that every experience has shaped you into the remarkable person you are today. Remember, compassion isn't something you finish, it's a practice, a way of being that evolves with you. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. Be patient with yourself as you continue navigating this terrain. Over time, you'll find that the more you celebrate your journey, the freer and more joyful you become. Thank you for joining me in exploring the transformative power of self-compassion, mindfulness, and love. You've already taken monumental steps toward living a life filled with authenticity, connection, and peace. May this journey be just the beginning of a lifelong commitment to nurturing your heart and soul. Let's continue celebrating together and within ourselves. And so we arrive at the closing of our journey together, a journey toward loving yourself as you are, embracing self-compassion and cultivating mindfulness in every corner of your life. I want to take a moment to thank you, not just for watching this video, but for showing up fully and courageously throughout this process. Every step you've taken, every insight you've gained, and every act of kindness you've extended to yourself has been an act of profound bravery. As we bring this session to a close, let's pause and reflect on where you started and how far you've come. Perhaps when you began, you felt weighed down by self-doubt, comparison, or the relentless voice of your inner critic. Maybe you were searching for tools to manage stress, heal old wounds, or simply find more peace in your daily life. Whatever brought you here, trust that your willingness to engage with these teachings has already begun to transform your relationship with yourself and with the world around you. Remember, this isn't the end, it's a new beginning. The practices we've explored, mindfulness, gratitude, loving kindness meditation, embracing vulnerability, healing inner criticism, and celebrating your journey are not one-time exercises. They're lifelong companions ready to support you whenever you need them. Some days they'll feel natural and effortless. Other days they might require extra effort. That's okay. Growth isn't linear, and neither is self-compassion. What matters most is that you keep showing up for yourself, for others, and for the beauty of being alive. If there's one thing I hope you carry forward from this experience, it's this: you are enough, not because of what you achieve, how you look, or what others think of you, but simply because you exist. Your presence in this world is a gift, and your journey is uniquely yours to honor and cherish. Before we part ways, I'd like to leave you with a few final thoughts and reminders. Be patient with yourself. Transformation takes time. Celebrate small victories and don't rush the process. Trust that even the tiniest seeds of compassion will grow into something extraordinary. Stay curious. Life is full of surprises, challenges, and opportunities for growth. Approach each day with openness and curiosity, knowing that every moment holds the potential for learning and connection. Lean on community. While this journey is deeply personal, you're never alone. Reach out to friends, family, mentors, or communities who can support you along the way. And if you're part of the Mindful Zone community, know that you're surrounded by kindred spirits who share your commitment to growth and well-being. Keep practicing. Consistency is key. Whether it's taking 3 mindful breaths before a meeting, writing in a gratitude journal, or silently sending loving kindness to someone in need, these small acts add up over time. They create ripples of positivity that extend far beyond yourself. Lastly, I want to express my deepest gratitude for allowing me to guide you on this journey. It's truly an honor to walk alongside you as you explore the vast landscape of your heart and mind. If this video resonated with you, please consider sharing it with others who might benefit. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your experiences, insights, or questions. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Mindful Zone for more content designed to nurture your spirit and inspire your path forward. As we say goodbye for now, I invite you to take one last deep breath with me. Inhale slowly and exhale fully. Feel the weight of this journey settling softly within you like a gentle rain, Nur 6, ishing the earth. Carry this sense of calm, clarity, and compassion with you as you step back into the rhythm of your life. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are capable of creating a life filled with joy, meaning, and authenticity. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for daring to love yourself exactly as you are. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and may your days be filled with peace, laughter, and boundless compassion. Namaste.